Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Not only, of course, the much anticipated Skirk, but we've also got some really interesting quality of life, a new permanent game mode, a new insane item coming along with that game mode. So let's get into it. As usual, redemption codes will be in the comments below if you haven't gotten them yet. The intro trailer, as usual, looks fantastic, but honestly not even for like the animations this time. It's more so about the story implications, so it's really moving again, you know, with the main character and their sibling. We'll talk a little bit more about it later, but yeah, Dainsleif will also be a big part of this story as well. We got a little preview of Skirk here. I do have to come clean on something. I have already played with her, but for the sake of the special program, we're only going to talk about what they talk about. That video, if you want a closer look at her, should be coming out somewhat soon. They also show off the second new character, Dahlia, which I didn't play too much with, so this really will be more of a first impressions. But yeah, starting with Skirk and her very bare bones lore background, she only played a small part at the end of Fontaine's story, and even that was a while ago, so my memory is rusty. This is mostly gathered from what the hosts were saying, and so she is Child's master. She also trained under Sertologi, which is one of the 5 sinners of Conria. But if I understand right from what they're saying, that big whale at the end of Fontaine's story was the pet of this dude, which she was able to rein in, as they say. I'm sure all those details will be fleshed out because she does have a new story quest. She can also be seen here sitting on a box playing a guitar, so a little bit of a musician as well, I suppose. But yeah, moving on to combat and her gameplay mechanics, she actually doesn't have a vision, but is, for the sake of blending in and gameplay reasons, a cryo character. She's also the next character that doesn't use energy like Mawika. Anyway, I'm pretty comfortable saying her role in the team is the on-field main DPS. If you tap her E, she'll enter a special mode where her normal attacks become cryo infused. They also look incredibly cool. When any cryo reactions happen, besides melt, whether she's on-field in E mode or not, a little void thing will get summoned. The main purpose of these voids that are summoned is for her to absorb them. Either a charge attack after a tapped E, her special no animation burst after tapping E, or holding E. And the more voids she absorbs, the stronger her attacks will be. So you probably noticed I said special burst, and yeah, she does have 2, much like Verissa. One with an animation and one without. You need a certain number of her non-energy energy to do her normal burst. I don't think they go into the specifics here, but that's one thing I did focus on when playing with her for the first time. She also becomes stronger and even increases the talent level of your team's elemental skill if the team is comprised of only Hydros and Cryos. So yes, as everyone pointed out, Escoffier will shine very brightly in this team. I usually have some final overall thoughts here, but I'm a little concerned about saying too much, so I'm just gonna say she does look really cool. I love her design. She also seems really fun with the void creating and absorbing mechanic. I imagine also in the right team, she'll be very strong. Next up, we have Dahlia. Again, I didn't look at him too much, but he is a Hydro character, so could potentially fit well with Skirk. Lore-wise, all I could really gather is that he's a friend of Venti and a herald of Barbatos, so he talks to Barbados and, I don't know, manages him. But yeah, he seems to mostly be a shielder / attack speed buffer. He'll grant a shield to himself and the team with his burst, and after his burst, he can gain stacks when, you know, the other team members are doing normal attacks or freezing. These stacks will get consumed to create a new shield when the initial burst one breaks. They also mentioned Dahlia can boost the attack speed of the on-field character, but by how much and how? I assume it might be with the same stack system, but I really don't even know how much. With his E, he'll summon a little icon on the ground. If enemies are nearby, it'll explode and deal damage. And if an ally walks on it, it'll actually bounce them up high enough to do a plunge attack, which is pretty neat. Talking about banners, it's pretty scary. These are some stacked banners. In phase 1, of course, we're starting with Skirk, but also Shinha. And yeah, Shinha is also very relevant right now. It's probably safe to assume Skirk is going to be the best cryo DPS we have now, and Shinha is arguably the best buffer for cryo DPSs. Thankfully, Dahlia will also be in phase 1 with Skirk, so, you know, can get them both at the same time. Of course, new signature weapon for Skirk. And then in phase 2, we got the Mawika rerun. Jesus, new players or those that didn't get Mawika the first time, and of course regret not getting her, might have a tough time with this one. I will say though, to maximize Skirk's potential, probably requires a bit of investment, because, you know, Escoffier going to be really good, Shinha going to be really good, Farina, whether her optimal team is required to make her good, I don't really know. But yeah, Mawika is kind of a one-woman army, so if you don't already have the more key characters for Skirk, it would be an easy choice for me if I was a new player starting over today. I would get Mawika. And Emily also chilling there, no shade towards her as well, but she is kind of up against some Goliaths right now. Then they show a little preview of the Archon quest. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but Dainsleif, it does seem to have a big focus focus on him and the sibling, sort of story, which in my mind has always been the overarching theme of the whole game. So Archon quests like this, at least for me, are always a bit more exciting. Next, we're moving on to events. With this main one, we can get a crown and a free Sethos. Still haven't raised that boy. Maybe I will finally get around to that. The gameplay of the event does look pretty cute. So we have like this board game here. You can choose a path at the beginning, like a desert or forest, I believe, and your monster pieces have to defeat the other monster pieces. But there seems to be quite a lot of ways to make your pieces stronger. So you can just like upgrade them, kind of more usual, but you can also give them gear. If you have a bunch of the same types or species of monsters, you get certain buffs. There are encounters where you can get items to make your team stronger. You can open chests for items. There's like techniques you can learn, and even some luck-based stuff where you can fail based on a dice roll. So it seems pretty in-depth at the very least. And then we have this fruit thing where you're drawing a line to make Paimon eat the fruits. Next up, we got Fearsome Ferocious Firepower. You're shooting enemies in this turret and you have different ammo for different situations. Reminiscent Regimen Frenzy seems pretty interesting. It's a co-op combat event where you can choose your own characters. That's pretty rare. We don't have those super often, at least in event form. Obviously, like, I guess challenging domains would be the same. There does appear to be stage objectives as well, like together as a team, hit opponents with plunging attacks at least 20 times. So you have to think about your composition, what your teammates are bringing, what you need to fill in. Okay, besides new characters, we're getting to our first really exciting thing, Stygian Onslaught. This is a new permanent game mode. To be honest, I'm still a little confused about how this works, but basically it is a different way to farm artifacts. You can see from this list here, you can choose basically all the artifact domains we have. There are also different difficulties. At the end of all 3 battles, you have this little ley line thing here, and you can choose to spend resin, and depending on what you chose before, you will get artifacts from that domain. In this clip, they used 20 resin and got 1 artifact, so at this point it doesn't really look better than normal artifact farming. However, much like Abyss and Imaginarium Theater, there are overall rewards as well. And up here you can see for every 120 dire prestige gained, you'll earn an additional 5-star artifact. So it's just like an extra one there. And then we get to the important thing, Dust of Enlightenment. When you complete stage 4 or 5, you get one of these items. It is sad these items are going to be so rare, but we have artifact rerolling. And it's not just a raw reroll either. Much like the updated sanctifying elixirs, you can choose the subsets you want, and a minimum of 2 will get rolled into there. Whether, again, that's like a pity system or not, I don't know, but it's still better than just a raw reroll. Like, I've had so many artifacts with massive potential, and then it just rolls completely into death. So this item, even if it were to be a raw reroll, would be cool, because there's no world mathematically possible that the same thing happens. I mean, not literally, obviously, but I've had an artifact with like attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, and then flat def, and it just all goes into def. And a raw reroll, it couldn't be worse, right? This is just an extra item. Yes, they're rare. I think a total of 4 per version we can get. 3 from the new game mode and 1 from Battle Pass, which, yes, doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than 0. So I'm happy with it regardless. The one in the Battle Pass, unfortunately, does look like it's in the, premium section, so you would need to buy it. We'll also get 2 in our mailbox, I guess, as one-offs, as an introduction to the system. I honestly can't imagine I'm ever even going to use them, though. They're so precious, but no, I probably will. Honestly, as soon as we get them. I think that can potentially be really hype or really depressing. We will see. Also, I forgot to mention, this is content you can play co-op, but apparently to get the rewards for difficulty 5, you need to play it solo. There is a secret difficulty, level 6. When players clear difficulty 6, the units they use to clear it will become exalted, and friends can select those units and you'll get buffs for difficulty 5. And then yeah, level 6 is unlocked by solo clearing level 5. And they were pretty vague on this, but apparently this is just for fun to prove your strength, which is totally fine by me, honestly, because sometimes I want to showcase stuff on something harder, and this might be a good place to do it. I guess depending on the enemy, like I won't be able to show a Hydro DPS on Hydro Tulpa, for example. That's just not going to work. They specifically say no promise of Primo Gems to drive you forward. But they also say, you're telling me travelers don't get anything in return for accomplishing something like that. And then the other host says, well, we'll just have to wait and see now, won't we? So it's possible there's some kind of reward for clearing difficulty 6, which they are hyping up to be very difficult. But yes, I guess we will just have to wait and see. And this new mode drops 8 days after the update does. So yes, this sounds really interesting, and some of the details are a little murky to me, but I am really looking forward to checking that out. We also got the next part for Traveler's Tales. This is the thing where like the icons will appear on the map and you can just go interact with, the characters. We got Overflowing Abundance coming back. So double weapon drops, double talent books for a few days, 3 times a day. We got new echoes for Raiden and Shinha. Again, Shinha, kinda relevant right now. TCG update. And finally, we get to system optimizations. One in particular I'm really excited for. For people that have an issue with phone storage, you can choose basic resources now to reduce the amount of space Genshin requires. This will basically cut out on the less important quest resources and all of that. And if it does cut out something you actually wanted to do, you can download it separately then. This one's also pretty neat. You can directly use a fragile resin now when you're collecting rewards from something. So 3 times the rewards. Unfortunately, you can't craft fragile resin. So it's not something that'll hugely impact anything, but you know, it's pretty nice. In the enemies tab of the adventure handbook, there's a little question mark there, so it kind of tells you how the boss works. That's quite convenient. And here we go, Spiral Abyss optimizations. When moving to the next floor or restarting a challenge, you can now save your current party lineup or clear it with a single click. That's huge for me because I'm always doing that. And as lazy as this will make me sound, I hate restarting because it's like, oh God, then I have to go click all the units back in place again. And yeah, that sounds dumb, but I do have every character, so sometimes it's kind of hard to find, you know, the right ones 8 times. It's just annoying. So when I want to change like one unit in the team or just rebuild the characters I do have, I leave, rebuild them, and then, you know, just click the button and the team I just used is back there. It's nice. I like that. I like that a lot. There's also an instant reward claim when you complete a floor there, so you don't have to go back into Abyss. I'm sure I've already missed Primo Gems just by not thinking about that. And this one's cool too. You can just instantly retry the challenge. If you don't get that 3rd star, for example, there are some times where it's gotten so close, like down to the second. And most of the time I'd rather just give up to risk killing him at 659 and then having to go through the entire Abyss again. Though actually, I'm not sure if this actually means restarting from Chamber 3 or actually just going back to the beginning. I wouldn't see the point if it's actually directly at the beginning, especially with like the instant team lineup stuff we have now. So I don't know. To get like 100% confirmation on how that works, we're just gonna have to wait for it, I guess. And finally, there is a teaser for something or someone at the end of the special program. Maybe like big lore heads know exactly what's going on with this. I couldn't tell you though, honestly. But yeah, that was it for the special program. Really looking forward to the new permanent game mode. Obviously, Skirk. The Abyss quality of life seemed really good as well. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Dropping a like or subscribing if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.